Welcome everybody to the Heart of Geek stream tonight. As is customary on Thursdays, I will be working on a diecast build, and tonight it will be again the Infinity Gauntlet. So I think the first will be starting at stage 47. I'm not sure how many. Let's see. I've got remaining in this bin. I've got more boxes, but I'm going to finish this bin off. 61. So I'll be working to stage 61 hopefully tonight. There's only 100 in the entire gauntlet, so we'll be way more than, we'll be 60% done when we finish tonight. But the first stage is set 47, and it's going to be part of the working base, which you guys can't see. It's actually behind the other camera right here. But it looks like the first couple is the more of the base. But I go over what's in the magazine. So like they talk about the saga of the gauntlet. So the next one was Avengers Assemble. And it says Thanos, the Zodiac, and the Badoon are the guests of honor in the first encounter between the new Guardians of the Galaxy and the Avengers. And if the trio of enemies was not enough trouble for them, there is the added danger of the Cosmic Cube. So then it goes through the Return of the Hulk, duel with Thanos, shows the Guardians of the Galaxy here, which Adam Warlock was part of it. So here's Rocket, Drax, Adam Warlock, and then I can't remember who this is. But then the new group was Star-Lord and Drax, Rocket, Groot, Gamora, and Bug. Then this one shows the Fantastic Four, but it always shows a reading guide. So it shows in this one, the Avengers Assemble Volume 2, 1 through 8. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, 0.1. 1 through 7 for Volume 3, and then number 18 through 20. Talks about the battle for the cube, and then we get to the build. So this is the third part of the working base. So 47 is this, and this is the first actual metal pieces of the base. There's a plastic piece too, but if I can open this damn thing. But yeah, this support is metal, and then the C58 is a plastic piece that actually goes, it seems like, it's weird though, because it's showing a support, but it's showing another piece. So I may not have to do anything with this in this stage. It's weird how they do some of these. So the picture, you guys can see it, probably can't, but it says, shows the parts of the working base in position. With the base assembled, it only lacks elements of the support and the crossbeam to be completed, but it looks like the bottom piece that goes below the support we don't have yet. So that's just strange to me. It says you'll receive some of the pieces for the working base that will be assembled in future issues. So we're not assembling that piece yet, so that's easy. That's gonna make the build go faster today. I may not be on here for very long if that's the case, but so I'll set these to the side for now. The next one looks like it's going to be the same thing. This is working base number 4. So the beginning of the magazine talks about the end is near. When the Illuminati's secret came to light, Captain America agreed to join the group to moderate its activities from the inside. This was until another crisis began that would destroy the relationship between the heroes forever. So talks about the end of the Avengers down here, and then various other items. I'd have to read through the whole thing to get to the point, but it doesn't actually, this one doesn't really talk about the reading saga in this one. That's a first time, but it looks like this will receive the pieces that we were missing. See why they didn't do this backwards, makes no sense. But 48 will actually have a support, which is another one of those pieces that, if I could grab this damn thing, the way they did this one makes it very hard to open. I normally don't struggle like that with them. But there's another support piece, so I'll set that there. Then on the other side, we have the joint support right there, and then we've got C59, right here. And then we've got, what, 2 screws with 1 spare. Even though there's 4 screws in here. And what happens with these builds a lot of times is we get way more screws than we need. So it's the same with this one. We really only need 2 screws, so I'm going to pull the 2 out and leave the other 2. I've got a ton of screws back there that I haven't used. So the first step is to fit the 2 parts of the cross bracket together, and that's what, so C58, and they probably, once fitted, fix the part with the true screws. And it's only going to go one way because it kind of lines up just like that. And then, oh, I didn't grab my screwdriver behind me. That's one thing I didn't grab. Grabbed everything else. I mean, let's see where my screwdriver is for this. Is it back behind me? I'll grab this one. Oh, there it is. I've got so many builds, I've got so many screwdrivers. So, but yeah, the screwdrivers are going to go, or the screws are going to go right in these slots here. Because it may be necessary to use a standard Phillips. I didn't need to with this one. There. That's that piece right here. It's going to go once we, doesn't look like, these are the same size pieces, so it's not like we have to do them a certain way, but the joint goes on top, and then the other support goes like that, and then that goes in there just like that. Surprised you can't even see that on camera. Oh man, it's way off camera. I'll bring it over here just so you can see it. But this is what it tells you how big the gauntlet's actually going to be, because this is the base that comes with the build. I got a premium build that's lit up, so I don't know how it incorporates with this, but this is if you don't get the premium stand, the stand looks like this that the gauntlet actually sits on. So that's that piece, and let me see if I do anything with this piece. I would assume I put it on top of that, but not yet. So it says the working base is almost ready to receive the gauntlet assembly. So that's it for this piece, and then it talks about a Watu, the watcher. This is, I guess they flipped it around because this is where it talks more about the other stuff. Jonathan Hickman being multiversal and that type of thing. So that's it for that stage. Now we'll move on to 49. I'm going to move this over here. We start building another, I'll set that there in case we need it during today's build. But yeah, we start working on the middle finger in the next one. So we've got the thumb and the index finger built. So now we're working on the third one. So I won't bring those builds over here because we won't be putting them together until probably we finish all of them. But in this magazine they talk about the origin of Thanos. Thanos' childhood was not easy. Rejected because of his appearance different from others on Titan. From a young age he knew that something was not right in him, but never suspecting that he would become the lover of death. I didn't know he was called that ever. I don't even remember if they talked about that in the movie. But then they talk about the rise of Thanos. There's a Thanos Rising, I guess, was a mini-series that was developed at one point. And then it talks about Thanos in space. And then we get to the build. So the next step is 48. Oh, that's 49. Oh, I didn't grab 48. Okay, let me grab every one of them but that one. So let's see. Hopefully I'm not missing that one. So that'll be another one I gotta reach out to them on, because I do not see 49 in here, which is weird because I went through all of the builds. Shoot. Did it fall maybe? I thought I just grabbed all of them. That was weird. Because I don't see 49. $57. May have to skip that. 50, 52, 53, 58, 54. Damn, I'm missing 48. Huh. Did not know that. Well, that's great. That's weird. I have the magazine, but not the booklet again. Or how did I get the magazine, but not the 48? Oh no, I'm on 49. What the hell am I smoking? I just did 48. Jesus. Jeremy, sorry about that. Forgot I was on 49. For some reason I thought I was on 48. Jeez. Okay, at least I'm not missing something. I was going to be a little mad if I was. Alright, so, because I already ran into this once before and I thought I went through all these. So, we've got C17, which is a plastic part which goes underneath the metal parts. And then we've got A25, which is basically the top part of the finger. And then A24, which is essentially right underneath it. You'll see as we build these up, but these pretty much go same way. Then we've got one screw with two spares. So they give you plenty of screws. It's like, wonder if they thought that they would have issues with the build or something. I'm gonna, since these are going into metal too, I'm going to lubricate them. I haven't done that yet. This will be the first time I do it. But the first step is we take A24 like this, and we put A25 on top of it, and then we use the one screw to screw that piece in. And that's going to be literally all we do on this stage. So lubricating the parts or the metal pieces makes it easier to actually screw into the metal somehow. And I can't get a grip on the, which it actually does make it easier. It's interesting how it works, but it lubricates the metal piece to go in much easier. So there we go. So I think that's actually all we're, let's see, because there's no other screws. I don't think we're going to do anything else on this stage. Yep. And then, yeah, so it shows, it shows where the piece is. You guys can't see it. I can possibly pull it up, but it's like I said, it's going right on top of the, and it might not be the very top of the finger because it shows like the next level down, like right underneath the tip. So, and then it talks about Thane, who's the son of Thanos, in the back end of the magazine, and then Jason Aaron, which was a writer of the miniseries that narrated the secret origin of Thanos. Does this in every magazine, but I don't read them. But so that's it for that part. So I'll sit these because we'll be continuing to do these throughout the rest of the build, more than likely, is finishing the middle finger. So it talks about the time stone in this one and the second part of the middle finger. So I don't know if, let's see, we're on 50. So it just talks about the time stone. We must be getting ready to deal with that. I thought we already did, but maybe not. We'll obviously be working on it, but none of these are showing that, so it's just remainder of the finger. But it goes through the movie and how the time stone was interacted with Doctor Strange and the like. And then when the Ancient One decided to entrust Hulk with it, or Bruce Banner, or whatever you want to call him. But the next part is the second part, like I said, of the middle finger. So it's funny, when I finish this up, you'll actually see how big this thing's going to be, because the fingers, and I can show you an example, but this, for context, this is the middle finger, which, again, I don't like to necessarily show it by itself on camera because of the shape, but this is this finger on his hand, or on the glove. So it just tells you how big this thing really is, and when you see the other parts, you'll see kind of in reference what it'll be. But this is what I was talking about, A26. This is the top part of the finger, so it'll go above that. And then we've got C18, which will be the other side of that piece that we just got. D04, which will go on the inside. You guys can't see that, but in the inside of this piece, there's a little area that this pops onto the plastic piece. And then we've got two of these, the metal screws, and then one of the smaller screw that will go into this. The other two will go into the plastic piece. Done enough of these. These are pretty much almost the same exact build for each finger. They just shape differently, and there's different detailing on them. So I'm pretty accustomed to doing these already. So like this, we'll take the part from 49 that we built up, and then C18, which was from the last, or from this build, I mean, which they're labeled on the inside. You'll take there's a semicircle hole. You guys may be able to see it on camera, but on the side of this, there's another semicircle hole that this will align with, and it kind of puts it in place where it needs to go on the particular build. And then you take C17, and on this side, there's another piece that aligns with this hole, so you align those two parts together, and then one of these screws goes in this hole, and you screw these together. Which the plastic is much easier to screw into, and you don't want to over tighten it because it'll break the plastic. So I go until it stops. I don't try to go over tighten it. And then the other screw, I want to say wonder why there's two of it. Did I read the screws wrong? Maybe I only needed one of those, and there was only two spares. No, two. No, there is only one. There's two spares. I pulled two out on accident. We only need one of those, but yeah, like I said, this piece will go down into this hole, and then I'm gonna do the same thing with this. I'm gonna lubricate it with some oil. Make it easier to go in the hole, or screw in, and then once that's in there, you take this, and this hole right here it goes this way per the directions, and it'll just pop on to the end of this, just like that. And that should be it for this stage. This is the very top part of the finger. So we'll continue through each step. We'll be building each bendable part of the finger. So you'll see there's a multitude of stages for each finger. So it's fun times. But yeah, then the back end of the magazine talks about Loki, the god of mischief. How many of you guys are looking forward to the new Avengers movie? I know he's been, and then Steve Epting, Mythbuster. They talk about the illustrator of some of the most iconic scenes in history of Marvel. And that's it for that one. And we're now to stage 51, which, like I said, is pretty crazy because we only have 61. I never would have thought I would have got through these as fast as I have, because I think I've received up to issue 76 of 100. So after I finish this bin, I will stop doing these live, I think, and I'll start putting videos out for each stage. I basically did the live streaming of this to catch up with all of my builds where I was behind, because I felt that would be easier than recording videos on them. So I'll be putting videos out for the remainder of these because they're boxed up right now. These were all the ones I had boxed that I was clearing out of my house. But talks about beyond infinity, when the Avengers left Earth to confront the Builders and prevent the destruction of the planet, Thanos and his Black Order took advantage of their absence to invade Earth in search, of course, of the Infinity Gems. So then it talks about Infinity that was made in 2013, and then the Duel of the Titans, Ebony Maw's plan in terms of, because he was the first to come to Thane's side, I guess. You guys might remember Ebony Maw from the movies. And then against the Avengers, and then we start with the build of the portion. So in this one we receive C19, which is another plastic piece that'll go to the next level down, and you'll see how that works as we go through. These will align a certain way as we go down so they can articulate. Then there's A27. Then we've got D05, which is a way for to get the articulation to stop within the finger. Then we've got a washer, and then we've got one screw again. So there's 3 in there. They give you 2 spares. Like I said, they give you plenty of screws. If you are missing screws, you get plenty of overlaps with this build, because I've got about 50 extras, I think. So the first step is you'll take the assembly from the last stage, and you'll take the washer that you got in this one, and you'll put it right over this hole, and then you'll take the piece you received in this issue, and you'll put it through this hole, and again there's a hole in this piece that will align. I think I might have went backwards. Hold on a second. No, it shows. I think I'm skipping a step though in terms of the piece though. So this just goes through the hole right here. And a lot of these you gotta like kind of wedge through because they won't go through easily. So like you gotta like push it through to make it go all the way through, like that. And you see how the articulation happens like right here with this piece. So that's how you're able to articulate the piece. But then the next step, we flip this around, I believe. Let me look, make sure. No, we keep it this way. This piece has got the hole that I was the notch that I was referring to on it. So on this side, you've got this piece right here. And normally they say this piece, and they probably will say it in the instructions, that it needs to go fitting. It needs to go over this piece. So the metal piece needs to be over that one when you align it. But it still needs to be in this notch. So that's just like that. If you guys can see how it's overlaying that piece, like it's over this one, you got to make sure that you do that. And then once you do that, then we take this piece, and it's going to go over this hole right here. And what it's meant to do is it's meant to keep this piece in line. So it shows it being down here right on top of this metal piece. And then again, you use this screw right here to screw that into place, which these are always weird to get to go in because of the where they're at in terms of the where the metal piece is. I always struggle with trying to get it in where it will actually, see how it's not. I'm going to try this one. Sometimes this one gives me better hold because it's somewhat magnetic. Like it's got this one I know is, but sometimes it's too big for the screws. But let's see if this one works better today. For some reason this one, there we go. I think I'm getting it in there, but yeah, there we go. Gotta make sure that, God, this one's being a pain. I don't know why it's normally going into plastic's easy. This one's being a pain in the butt today. Like it's, alright. So there's that one. And then I think that's it for this stage. We'll get the other side in the next one more than likely. That's how these work. But the first piece is to make sure this goes in. Because once we put this plastic, there'll be another plastic piece that goes over this one. And then we screw into this hole. There'll be another washer that we get that goes on this side. But the end of this magazine, it talks about Captain Universe, Herald of the Cosmos. And then Jerome Opeña, who I think was a Filipino artist that worked on about 30 issues of Marvel stuff. So, oh, forgot I didn't go. Then, like I was saying, I've got the premium base. There's parts in here, it lights up, but we'll work on that later. Maybe if I have parts to deal with that. I'm just going to sit these here since I'll be dealing with all of them. We'll put that there. Stage 52 is the fourth part of the middle finger that we'll be dealing with. We're talking about the resurrection of Thanos in this one. So death, resurrection, and death again. In addition to selfishness and perseverance, these two concepts rule the spirit of Thanos. This is well known to the heroes who are required to make the ultimate sacrifice to stop the Mad Titan. And this picture is of Nova. And then Duel in the Cancerverse, they called it. And they're talking about Original Sin, which was another Guardians of the Galaxy number 19, it looks like. Then again, it gets back to the reading guide. So it talks about Thanos Imperative number 6 back in 2010, Avengers Assemble Volume 2, 1 through 8 in 2013, Point 1, number 1 in 2011, and the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, number 18 to 20 in 2014 again. I think they talked about those a couple episodes back, but we're going to get to more of the middle finger in this stage. This stream may not be very long because I'm already to stage 52. Like I said, I've only got up to 61 here in the room with me. So I'll either decide to do the rest of them that I've received live. Maybe that's what I'll do. And then I'll start with the videos once I start to get the rest of them, because that'll be a monthly video. That's probably actually what I will do. So again, we got one screw again. Then we've got C20. We've got C21. And then we've got a washer like I was referring to in the previous stage. And then we've got A28. So, like I was saying, we got the assembly from issue 51. The first thing we're going to do is this part's going to slide into this side of the build. So it's going to cover this part up. Well, then we're going to take C20, and like I was saying before, this washer that we received is going to go in this hole right here, this little notch, and then this is going to go like this on this, and then this notch, this hole that's on this side right here will fit in that part of the metal piece. And so at the same time we're fitting that notch in, we got to get this part in to this notch on this side, which that's the hardest part I always deal with, is getting that part in. Then I can kind of adjust that metal piece to fit in the notch. So we're good there. Then the last piece, all we have to do for this stage now is screw in, which normally I do the screw, well, is screw in the one screw from this stage. And I don't think we'll do anything with the metal part yet. I think the metal part's in the next section. I think. Because I don't think there's anything to put it on right now. I don't think it goes over this part. That's decorative stuff that happens later in the... You start to cover these up. You'll put a piece here after you put a metal piece on that'll have a hole in it. And then that'll be the decorative part that goes on. Like what we did with all of these. This part went over, and then there was a notch where this hole is, where there was a decorative, we put a screw in, and then to hold the decorative part in place, and then there was a piece to cover that up. So we'll see that on every finger, I'm guessing. So this one is just the next notch down. So we'll put another part together down here. Probably this way though. No, it'll be this way because there's a gap there. But that's what my guess is anyways. Yeah, so we leave A28 alone. So that's stage 52. And then at the end of this magazine it talks about a Nova for the future. After his sacrifice to try to stop Thanos, the mantle of the Nova Corps fell into the hands of another young Earthling, Sam Alexander. Free from the responsibilities that weighed on Ryder, he was to become a hero in his own right. So he was the new one. And it talks about the origin of Nova and the missions he took on. Then at the end it talks about Jeff, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Loeb Doing? That's a weird... Oh, Doing, sorry. Jeff Loeb is his name. That was weird the way it was written. Doing things in a big way. So for 25 years he was responsible for some of the most epic stories in the Marvel Universe. I'm assuming it's some of these that they talk about. Red Hulk and one of the Captain Americas, and then the Ultimates 3. They show ones he worked on. So stage 53 is the 5th part of the middle finger, and it talks about transhulkification in this one. After having been allies and then enemies during the Annihilation Crisis, the paths of Thanos and Annihilus cross again in a confrontation that also involves the Hulk and Pip the Troll. So it talks about Annihilus Hulk, duel with Annihilus, Thanos versus Hulk. I guess there was a comic made, let's see, doesn't really talk about it, but I guess it was a standalone, it was after a standalone special, Thanos Annual Volume 1. And then we get into the build of the 5th part of the middle finger. And again, you'll see as we go down, and it's just different pieces, like same type of process for each part. You'll have a plastic piece that goes under the metal piece, and then you'll have later on, when we may not even get to it in these, it may be in the ones that I've got boxed up, but you've got on this one, it is C22, which they should be labeled under here. Yeah, it says C22 on this one. Then this one would be C23. And then this one's C24, which you can see this is another middle piece that goes into notches on these pieces. Then you've got D05, which was another piece that goes underneath here. And this one you got 2 washers because we're going to do all this at once. And then we've got 2 screws instead of 1 because, again, we're doing both sides of this one in the same stage. So instead of a stage per, which that's why I said sometimes it's very weird how they do these. But there's a method obviously to their madness. But you'll see, like, first step, washer again that fits in this little notch here. Then we've got C23, which is this piece. This thing's going to go through this hole, and we're going to have to push it through like we did on the other one until it goes all the way in, until it's touching. And you'll hear it do this weird noise, but that's when you know it's all the way in. That's the first step. And then the next step is we'll take A28 and it'll go this way like I was saying before. There's a notch on this side that'll match the notch on this one. So we'll put that in there. The next thing we got to make sure of is that it fits over this piece. So I always move it up to make sure that I'm doing that. And then it shows the reverse view, so I've already done all of that. Then the next piece we'll do is D05. We'll go this way, and it'll be down. Like I said, what it's meant to do is hold that piece in place, the metal piece, so it's like a lock kind of. And we'll screw that in first. So this one's always the hardest part for me because I have to hold on to the entire assembly to do it first. And then, but they're the easiest to, once you get them started, plastic ones are the easiest to screw in because they won't. And then the next step, once you do that part, is you'll take this piece and it's going to go in the notches. You'll want to make sure you put it on right, but the top, it'll only go one way because there's a smaller notch on top and a bigger one on the bottom. And then you'll pop it into place just like that. And then we'll take C22 and we'll make sure it's notched up, and then this piece goes in the notch. So like that, and then we'll make sure that piece is in there. And then the last part, oh, I forgot to do something. So, ooh, I hope that didn't break off. That didn't sound good. Yeah, I think it, damn it. I think I snapped that off. Anyways, hopefully it doesn't mess with anything. Dang, that sucks. All I did was pull it and it snapped right off. Because I forgot to put the washer on. Dang it. Just like that. And then this screw will go in this side. I don't think it's going to impact anything. There's so many screws everywhere that like that one's going to hold that in place. Then you're going to have another one down here that'll hold these together. I just don't see how. Biggest thing is you want to make sure these are overlapping, because these, same thing, you'll want these overlapping, because you'll see when we build the rest of them that they're in these notches. So that's where we're at with this finger so far. You see it's coming along like the other one was. And then at the end of this one, it talks about Blaster, the negative villain. I don't even know if I know that character. And then it talks about Chris Claremont, who was, I guess he marked on there. I'm not even too familiar with him, but I guess he made this famous image of Cyclops and Phoenix in Uncanny X-Men Volume 1. So there's that. Then we're on 54 now. Now I gotta start pulling out other pieces, so I'll pull these 3 out because these are the next 3 on line. So again, it's the 6th part of the middle finger. This one's interesting because I think it'll be the bottom of the middle finger. Maybe this finger's just not as big. I don't know. Seems like we're getting near because this piece is near the bottom. So the revelation of Thanos. When Thanos is active, he's usually soon followed by Adam Warlock, some new object of universal power and a fair share of deaths and resurrections. Talks about the Infinity Revelation that I guess came out in 2014, it looks like, by Jim Starlin. Then 2 Thanoses and 2 Warlocks from different realities came face to face in a certain section. The Cosmic Saga reading guide, like I was talking about, Thanos, the Infinity Revelation in 2014. Thanos versus Hulk 1 through 4 between 2014 and 2015. Thanos, the Infinity Relativity in 2015, and Thanos, the Infinity Finale in 2016. Those were part of a 3 series, I think, the Infinity Revelation, Relativity, and Finale. They were talking about that earlier, but like I said, the middle finger, the part 6, with most of the other fingers, you'll see what I was talking about. This part ties to the bottom of the actual finger. But so you've got C25 and C26 right here. You got A29 right here, and then you've got D06, and then we've got 2 screws again. But yeah, so if you look, this is what I was talking about. The part that we're dealing with right here is the very bottom. This piece right here is this part. So, and then this part is the part right above it. You can't see it, but it's the part that keeps the finger from going. You can only move it a certain amount. It like stops it. It can only articulate so far. So that's why I said it's very odd that we're working with this part already, but the first step is just putting these pieces together. Again, there's only one way that they're gonna go because the holes have to align. And then these 2 screws, and you don't deal with these, so you're just we're literally putting these parts together, and those parts are being saved. So, because these are the 2 screws that we're using, is to assemble this part right here. A lot of these steps, no wonder I'm building this so fast. Most of these steps don't have a lot to them. Seems like they dragged this series out longer than they really had to. To be honest with you, I think I overpaid for this thing, but to be all honest. But it is fully, I mean, for the most part, this thing is mostly metal. This is probably out of all the builds I've got, I think the only other one could be, when we start working on it again, is the solar system build that my son wanted to do with the orrery. I don't even think we have every part. I gotta figure out how to like get the rest of them. But I believe that's all we're gonna be working with in this one. Yeah, it says save these for an upcoming storage assembly and save this piece. So I'll just put that one over here. These ones will be probably in the next couple. Then it talks about the new Captain Marvel, Warbird, Binary, and Miss Marvel. So Carol Danvers. So that was accurate with the movie. I mean, so, but I'm surprised they had Miss Marvel, which was a totally different Miss Marvel in the movie, obviously based on what I'm looking at in these pictures. But Warbird, I don't think they even brought that into, or Binary, into the fold in any thing that I've seen. They probably renamed them because they look kind of like this person. Maybe I'm thinking of it wrong. So what was her name? I know her name was... trying to remember what her name was in the movie. The one that was her friend that became... somebody, but I don't remember who she became now. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank on it for some reason. Anyways, so stage 55 again is the 7th part of the middle finger, and it talks about the new Adam Warlock. The new Adam Warlock inhabiting the Marvel Universe is a sole survivor of the destruction of a parallel reality. But he's also something more, and when his friends and enemies discover his importance, everything changes. And he goes through various things, where he goes up against Annihilus again. Then they continue to talk about the infinity relativity issue from the last one, and then again it talks about the same two, Infinity Revelation, Infinity Finale, but it also talks about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, number 19 back in 2009, and Infinity Wars number 2 in 2018. But with that, we'll go ahead and continue on to the 7th part of the middle finger. So with that, and you can always tell when we're going to work on both sides of something because it'll have 2 washers. Okay, that's weird. This has, they taped this one. It's the first one that they've taped the bottom of it. I normally don't have to worry about that. Let's see, I got a blade up here, so I'll use that to... Set that out to the side just in case I need it again. We got A30 right here. We'll need 2 screws from this bag. We got 2 washers. One of them came out already. The other one's right there. And then we've got C29. Which C29, as you can see, is going to be the middle part. But it looks like we're working on the bottom piece. It's weird. Why'd they... Can't be that small. Maybe it is that small. That's interesting that the middle finger might be smaller than the... But it looks like we're going bottom to middle. Anyways, so that piece from... Oh, that's not this piece. I need this one. A30. Need that, and the 2 washers are going to go in these little notches here on the inside. Which these, I found the last time I did this was interesting because if you don't put them in exactly right, they'll fall out. Just like that, twice. And then you got to put a part in between these 2 and make sure that they don't come out when you do that. So let me go this way. Damn it, I did that and the other one fell out. Yeah, this one was a pain to deal with on this part. Because they're like plastic washers. It's not like they're like actual washers. They're like little plastic. Gosh dang it, I can't. It's funny, when I go this way, you'd think it would just sit there. Okay, that's looks good for now. Then we take the piece from the other assembly and we put it in like this in between. Damn it, I knew that was going to happen. That's what happened the last time I did this. Is you got to make sure that these stay in those holes as you're putting the other piece in, because these go in, then you've got another piece that goes in between the 2 pieces. Anyways, it's fun, and when you got fat pudgy fingers like I do, it doesn't make it easy, because when you do this, then all of a sudden they pop out just like that. And it continues to... This was one of the parts I struggled with early on when I did the other 2 fingers. Every other part's pretty easy. This one, because of the way that the parts just sit in there, it's like I wish I could just put... You would think you'd be able to just put them around this, but it's actually bigger than that piece. It's just for in between. Damn it, I cannot... It won't just stay sitting there. There we go. See if I can actually just get the... Oh, fucking hell. Wish I could do a technical difficulties thing. but like you do this, you put these here. See, and it's already moved, both of them. It's just a pain in the ass. I mean, it really is, this part. Because I got to get this middle piece in there, and it literally fits right up against these two pieces. Again, I would think it would be a lot easier to deal with than it is for this part. I literally fly through the rest of this thing, but for some reason this is just a pain in the ass. Let's see if I can get it better going. No, because then that part just fell out. Gosh damn it. So I got that part back in there, but then this part fell out. There. Well, let's see. Fucking hell, dude. Really? Let me see if I can just slide this one underneath. I'm going to see if I can slide this behind that. Maybe that'll be the easiest way to get it in there, because this is BS right now. See, the fact that it sits right up against that is kind of stupid. I mean, it literally is right up against that piece. I can't even wedge that in there. See if I can pull it down. There, I got it to go that way. I know it's to make that easier, but it's just, alright, there we go. Alright, now this part goes, or not this part goes in the screw holes down here. Like that. And then those two screws, the two screws I need to go in that. Oop. Where did the, okay, there it is. At least I got that part in. That was being a bitch to, it's funny, that side doesn't look good. I gotta pull this part down, because this part, well, maybe if I screw this one in, it'll fix it. So the washer on that side is being funky. Damn, come on, man. Sometimes this one works better. But this one seems to be working even better than that one for some reason. Gosh dang, no, it's like holding it, but it won't. What the hell just happened? I probably should have actually lubricated these. That's probably what my problem is. I forgot these are going into metal. Alright, well they went in, so I don't have to worry about them. But yeah, so this is how this is supposed to, so why is that not, must not have it all the way. Of course I'm trying to get it up and it, I'm gonna lubricate these now. Put this back on there though. Yeah, there we go. That's it for that. It looks like that's probably it for this stage too, because we saved this one. So we've got these 3 extra pieces through this stage, and then it talks about Gladiator the Superman. One of the most charismatic cosmic characters in the Marvel Universe is Gladiator, a hero respected throughout the cosmos and leader of the powerful Shi'ar Imperial Guard. It's funny, it kind of looks like the dude from with the arrow. Michael Rooker played him. Damn it. There goes my... Why does this go to sleep? Just noticed that it went to sleep. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Anyway. Then Grant Morrison, it talks about him at the end of this one. So I guess in each magazine it talks about a different author. And then 56 is another part of the middle finger. 5 more stages left in this bin. That's crazy. The true adversary. Thanos is dead, and so is the Warlock of the regular universe. All eyes are on the Warlock of an alternate reality. A refugee has arrived in a world very similar to his own. Only one question remains to be answered. Is he a hero or a villain? Talks about the Infinity Entity in this one. And then the Cosmic Saga Reading Guide is Secret Wars 2, number 7 and 85. Infinity Gauntlet in 1991. Infinity Entity number 1 through 4 in 2015. And Avengers Assemble Omega in 2023. Then in this step, again, it's the 8th part of the middle finger. I can't remember how many parts it took for me to finish the middle finger last time. Or not the middle finger, but the index finger, or the thumb for that matter. There's not many pieces, I don't think, left though. So you got C27 and C28, and then you've got in this little baggie 2. See, they bagged these differently. It's like they put the washers and the screws in this little bag. And they're all in the, okay, that's, okay. There's the 2 washers. They're sticking to my hands, and then I need 2 of these screws, and they gave me like 7 of them. It says 2 spares, but there's only 4 in there. Looked like there were more. But yeah, so there's that. So then we need this assembly, C27, and then a washer. So we're going to take this part just like on this side. The washer is going to go in this notch right here. And then this part is going to go, I'm trying to be able to tell which way this is going to go. I think it goes this way. Yeah, because the notch will be on this side. And then, so we got to push this through like this. All the way through. And this one, just like the other one, this one was the easier one to deal with. Even the index finger was that way. It was like this piece for some reason slid in very easily compared to the the other ones. Then we've got, on this side, we've got A29 from issue 54, which I believe was this one. I think that's this one. Let me try to find the, yeah. And it goes, there's an elliptical hole right here, which will go here on this side. And then on this side, it's got this, that needs to go over that hole, and this allows it to move a lot more. And then when we, like I said, the round hole goes in the other side. When you look at it from this side right here, and then assembly, this piece, I guess this is the bottom part of this. So this side goes in the bottom part. Oh, this is going to be fun. There we go. You know, push this all the way through. And then it shows this being over this part, like that. And then where it fits over this one. And then C29 from this part will go in the notches here. It's only going to go one way because one notch is bigger than the other one, so it's only going to go this way on this side. And then you've got this piece where this part is going to, this washer is going to go, and it's stuck to my finger again, over that hole, and then this hole, this, it'll go this way where the notches go in the top part of this. And these screws holes should align to both of these, as well as go into the circular hole on this one. So there's where we're sitting now, and both of these screws will go into, one will go into this hole here, and then the other one will go on the bottom part. So yeah, the rest of these will be the decorative parts that go on the outside that I was talking about before, because this is the last piece that this is the middle finger completion. The next parts are going to be the coverings of these. I don't like the way that went in, but seems like it's not in the hole. Hold on a second. Seems very weird that it looks like it's in there, but it's not going in, like it's not screwing in the way I would have anticipated it. It doesn't look like it's actually aligned in the hole. That's weird. Seems like it would be though. Looks like it is. Let me unscrew this and see what the deal is. Oh, come on. Detected inactivity. This thing is fucking stupid. I'm moving on the screen. This thing is just stupid sometimes. Got to figure out why that one's not screwing in. I'm going to unscrew that one, make sure that bottom one goes in first. It's right in the hole. That's weird. Maybe I need to push this one in further. Maybe that's the problem. I'll try that and see. Maybe it wasn't far enough up. It's the only thing I could think of. I was able to push it a little bit more, so we'll see. I'll do this one first to make sure that it goes in, because the other one will, because I already checked that one. Yeah, it's going. Okay. It just wasn't far enough in, I guess. Man, very finicky, I guess. Literally was maybe a quarter of an inch off. If that. Alright. Yeah, there we go. Alright. So that part is done too. Now you can see, if you guys can see on here, it shows the under part of the finger done. We haven't done these two stones on the gauntlet yet, and we haven't done these two fingers. So, and then you can't see down here, but there's other stuff on the outside that hasn't been done yet either. But the next part, we're talking about Eon, the cosmic entity at the end of this magazine, and Steve McNiven. But let's see, they sent me two of the same related to the premium light base. So I don't even know if I have the right instructions for that at this point. So let's see, 57, 58, 59. I'm just going to pull them all out because we'll be working all of these. You can see we'll be working with the Infinity Gauntlet at some point, obviously, because, or the forearm piece, because those are longer. But so the 9th part of the middle finger, these will be easy. It's one screw and then a pop-on part, you'll see. I don't know if you guys are enjoying me talking about these magazines, but the New Living Tribunal, cornered and defeated by Annihilus, whose power has overwhelmed him, Thanos made a radical decision and opted for suicide. However, as is often the case with the Mad Titan's decisions, a twist in the story was not unexpected. That's when they talk about the Infinity finale again. Then the reading guide for this magazine was Strange Tales Volume 1, 157 to 158, back in 1967. What am I looking for in a man? I'm not looking for anything in a man, dude. So, I'm a happily married man with a wife and 2 kids. So, that's kind of a weird question. But anyways, Fantastic Four Volume 1, number 511, 2004. New Avengers Volume 3, number 8 in 2013. And then Thanos, the Infinity finale again, like I was talking about before. So, anyhow, talks about the return, but then the 9th part of the middle finger. It says, with this issue, we'll add the outer plates to complete the middle finger of the Infinity Gauntlet. It won't do all of them. So 57, it'll do maybe one in each of these. 57 through 59, it looks like. But like I said, we'll have one part, a cover, and a screw. You'll see what I was talking about earlier with that. So like, here's A31, if I can get it out of the tape. Let's see, this is the cover of the plastic I was talking about. It'll probably be the top one here, because it'll align with the shape. Then we've got one screw, and then the cover for where the screw goes in, like I was talking about before. So the next 3 parts, it'll be 3 of these. That's why I said 57, 58, and 59 more than likely. So like 57, there's a shape and it will go right along with that notch, and it will fit right over this plastic piece. And then you take one screw. That's why I said the build really for this isn't very difficult. It's been probably the easiest builds I've had. That's why I'm able to fly through it as fast as I am. But this literally just screws the decorative piece in place. And it's going into plastic, so it'll be easy. You just go until it stops. There. And then this piece will go in only one way because the shape will be only a certain way in there, and it'll cover up the screw that we just did. So that's, as you can see, that's the first decorative piece. So that's what it looks like to begin with. Then the next piece, and that's it for this stage because that's all the pieces we got in it. So as you can see, it's showing, that's the first part that we just did. It shows a different, oh, Monica Rambeau, that's what her name was from the movie. So they talk about her in this one, but she was the story is she was the second Captain Marvel, according to this. So I think they went that path maybe in the multiverse movie, because I think she was the Captain Marvel in the multiverse version that died. And then they talk about Fabian Nicieza. He did stuff for Deadpool and other things. Well, I wonder if he did Cable, because that's one of my favorite characters that are drawn. I'd have to look into that, because I never really did. I think he might have, but Cable was one I drew when I was a little one. So then we got stage 58. Like I was saying, it's the 10th part of the middle finger. And they talk about Deadpool in this one. Deadpool team up. Of all the allies Thanos has had in many years of galactic conquest or salvation, he has never ever had to team up with someone as unusual as Deadpool. I didn't realize they teamed up at one point. But then I guess they didn't, because there's a Deadpool versus Thanos comic that was made back in 1991. And the reading list for this one is the New Mutants, Volume 198 in 1991. That was where Deadpool debuted, I guess. And then Deadpool and Death, Annual number 1, 1998. Deadpool Volume 5, number 27 in 2014. And Deadpool vs. Thanos 1 through 4 in 2015. So the next stage, again, is the next part down. So 58 will be the same as 57, essentially. In that, it's the next decorative piece. So we will have the front part of the Infinity Gauntlet, 832. We've got D11, which will cover up the screw hole. And then we've got one screw again. So 3 stages left for today's stream, everybody. For everybody that's watched, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. That'll be very interesting when I get this thing finished. But when this one goes in, again, it goes this way. It can only go one way because this notch fits. If you see on this side, there's a little notch in there, so it'll only fit on this one way. And then the screw goes in this little screw hole here. You screw it in. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. And then once it's finished, you just put the cover over it and you're good to go. And again, this will only go one way because it's shaped a specific way on the piece itself. And it'll align with the piece. So that's what it looks like with that. Doesn't look much different than the index finger, which I don't expect it would. But like you can see, it shows the only part that we're not completed with is the very last part of the middle finger. And the rest of the build will be the same way. So we probably have about 10 stages for each of the last 2 fingers. But then the last part it talks about is Deadpool, the Merc with a Mouth, which is what he's kind of known for now with all the movies and stuff. And then Rob Liefeld, who was the co-creator of Deadpool, Cable, X-Force, Domino, and Discordia. So he might have been the one that drew Cable, was Rob Liefeld. I'll have to do more research on that. But again, that was one of my favorite characters growing up. I drew Cable a lot when I was younger. So again, the next part is the 11th part of the middle finger. So you can kind of go there were 11 parts to complete the middle finger. There's going to be probably 11 parts, so 22 more stages for the last 2 fingers. We're at stage 61, so that doesn't leave a lot left for the rest of the build, which we'll be touching with this one. But this magazine, The Search for the Mandalay Gem, the battle for the possession of the Mandalay Gem will lead the legendary Star-Lord to confront the reptilian Badoon, the empire of his father Jason, and also Thanos in a reunion after their escape from the Cancerverse. Funny thing is, I never heard of the Cancerverse before. Talk about legendary Star-Lord #1. I guess that was another. There's so many damn comics. That's why they can go so many places with the movies. The reading guide for this one was Annihilation #1 back in 2006. Annihilation Conquest Star-Lord #1 in 2007. Guardians of the Galaxy and X-Men Black Vortex in 2015. And Star-Lord Volume 2 #1 in 2016. But like I said, this stage is, again, we'll have three parts to it. It'll be the decorative cover for the finger, a screw, and the cover for the screw hole to make it look like there aren't any screws in this thing. So this is A33, then we've got D12, and then again 1 screw to screw in the piece into the actual assembly. But yeah, so again, this one will pop. It can only go in one way. Again, it's notched, so it will only go in that one way. And then I almost put the cover over it before I put the screw in. That wouldn't have been good, because I don't know how easy it would be to get the part out, to be honest with you. Once you put the part in there. Thing is, it would just pop off because you didn't screw this in there, so you could pop it from the back end probably. Well, that's it for that one, and then again the part will only go in one way on part of that. This one's the one that always looks weird to me. Even on the index finger of this part, you can tell is an extra part for some reason. I mean, you can't probably pick it up on camera, but this part is the screw hole part. But when you look at it on, you can tell that's covered. The other ones you can't really tell. That one you can readily tell. And I think that's it for the middle finger. The middle finger is complete. Yeah, it says the middle finger of the Infinity Gauntlet is now complete. Store it carefully and keep it away from knocks and dust. So I'll put it back here with the other ones. I've got 3 fingers back there now. I'm probably going to need to pull the gauntlet itself, the forearm piece, because the last 2 stages that I've got I think work with that. And then the last part of this, it talks about the in-betweener keeping the balance. The in-betweener is an agent of Lord Chaos and Master Order, created with the universal mission of maintaining the balance between the great forces of chaos, life and death, good and evil, logic and emotion, reality and illusion. It goes between, it starts talking about that person and giving all the stats for him. And then it talks about Jeff Lemire, who wrote the script for the 2nd volume of Thanos. He was a Canadian writer, I guess, or is a Canadian writer. So there's that. And then stage 60, I can't believe we got to it that fast. We've been on stream for 1 hour and 20 minutes. So it talks about the power of the soul, and this is going to be the inner part of the inner forearm. So I'll grab that piece here in a second. The power of the soul stone, about which little is known, is by far the most mysterious of all the infinity stones. And then it's basically at the movie, so it talks about the soul stone and Black Widow sacrificing herself. For anybody that hasn't seen the movie, I just spoiled it for a little bit of you. And it talks about just what happened at the end, if the soul stone was worth the price that it costed. So, like I said, this issue features the first piece of the inside of the Infinity Gauntlet armband. So this is stage 61. So 60 is this piece. And in this particular package, there's A74. And that's it. So we're not doing anything with it. We're just... And again, that tells you how big this thing is, because that's the part of the forearm. I'll have to grab it probably in stage 61, but I don't know if I'll be doing anything with either one of these yet. Not in this stage I won't. That just says part received with this issue will not be assembled yet. The assembly of the Gauntlet forearm will start next issue. So the result, it shows it right here. It's going to be on the bottom part of the Gauntlet. So this is the current status. So this is what we have currently. And that's all back here. So I've got this part of the outer forearm, which is this piece right here. So see how big it is. I mean, this is how big I am. That's the outer forearm. So I'll set that there. I'm not sure if I'll need it on this final stage or not. Then you guys already saw, this is the index finger. This is the middle finger, which is very interesting. I think, well, they're about the same size, I guess. And then we've got the thumb right here, and then the time stone, which goes on the outer part of that. And then we've got the back of the gauntlet itself, which is this part right here. So you see we've done, well, we have the time stone right there, then we've got the mind stone, then we've got two other stones. We don't have two of the other ones done yet. So that's all the pieces that we've completed up to through stage 60 right now. And then the last part of this magazine talks about Terex, a cruel herald. With Galactus, history tends to repeat itself. For centuries, the devourer of worlds has alternated times of solitude with times when he has needed the company and cooperation of a herald. These beings, converted by Galactus' cosmic power, are the ones who help him find new planets to devour, worlds to satiate the terrible hunger of Galactus. Then it talks about him in general, and then the last part it talks about Gene Colan, Galactic class. He's one of the best and most important artists to have worked at Marvel Comics and is creator of some of its most iconic and beloved characters. To the right it talks about Dracula, Captain Marvel, and Daredevil, but without reading it I don't know who he actually created, but looks like he was the helm of the series such as Daredevil, Doctor Strange, Howard the Duck, and the Tomb of Dracula. So, and then for today's stream, we're on the final stage that we're going to work tonight, which is stage 61, and it's the second part that we'll receive of the inner forearm. First part we'll talk about is the Savior of Worlds. After being defeated by his son Thane and the Illuminati, Thanos finds himself imprisoned in a prison from which he cannot escape. Frozen in time, a new opportunity will soon come his way, and he doesn't intend to miss it. Talks about the comic Inhumanity. And then the Crisis in the Multiverse. And it talks about various other things of who was in league with Thanos. And then, again, the final part, or the final part we're going to be working as we'll be starting the assembly of the inner forearm. So in this stage, we've got this one from the previous one, but in this stage, we'll have A75 and 5 screws, it looks like, that we'll be working with. And it looks like all we'll be doing, actually, is attaching this piece of the forearm to the piece we received in the last issue. So I'll get 5 screws out right now. There's 3. There's 5. I'll need to put oil on these because these will definitely be. So it looks like, let's see, A75, and then it's weird because there's only, oh, it's on this side, okay. So this side has 5 holes in it. So this will go on top of this piece like that. There. And then on the back end, these 5 screws will go into these 5 holes. And that's going to be it for this issue once I finish that. So I definitely will be using oil to lubricate these. I found it much easier doing that today. Screwing into the metal makes it very easy compared to before. Didn't need as much oil as I have in that little bowl, but three more screws, then we're done for this evening. And we'll be like 39 steps from finishing this whole build, which is kind of crazy. It'll put me in line with where I'm at with, once I put it back together, the X-Wing up here. Ooh. Michaela Gamer. I don't know what you posted. Hold on. Oh, it must have been like a spam one. But thanks for the follow, though. My moderator held that from me being able to, or from it posting. This made it so much easier, actually. Using this oil to get it into the metal. It's been much easier. Alright, that's it. So, and like I said, that's going to go, can't show you, but on the, the other part, the palm is down there. That was the other part that I didn't show, but it's the front part. So it's going to basically go like right here on the gauntlet itself. So that's where we're at in terms of that. So the only parts I have left, and in this one it talks about the creator of the Marvel Universe. So the creator that appeared in only a dozen House of Ideas comics. But without him, no other story would be possible in the Marvel Universe. And then so it talks about him. And then Mike Deodato, who is a Brazilian artist, looks like. He was the artist for Original Sin and Infinity Wars. And he was in charge of the second regular series of Thanos and creator of Riri Williams. So, alright, well that's the last one, guys. I don't have any more in this bin besides the premium light stand that I've got over here. Which, I need to look, did they send me 2 of the same one? So, see, it shows 652 piece, and then the other one I have in here is 651. So they didn't send me 2 of the same piece, but they sent me 2 of the same instructions. So hopefully I can find these digitally, but I'm gonna wait to like build this one until I have all the pieces, because this one's like electrical. There's like connectors and stuff for this one. But I don't know if it's gonna be as part of this one or if it's its own standalone one. But that's literally all I've got left in that bin. But I do have other boxes. I think I'm up to stage 76 in boxes. So, and then the next Dynamic Diecasters stream, I won't be doing one next Thursday because we'll be heading to Vegas because we'll be attending WrestleMania next weekend. So I won't be on stream actually next week. I won't be on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday next week. So you'll see on my schedule on Twitch that I'll be on vacation. So, but the next stream will be tomorrow night. I think Avowed's on the schedule. I might play something else. I might play First Berserker again. I'm actually enjoying that. But on Saturday, me and my son will be streaming Split Fiction again, and we hope to finish the game then. We're about halfway through. I think he said there's 14 chapters, and I think we just finished 7 of them. The last stream that we did last Sunday, where we streamed for like 6.5 hours after we did the 4-hour Lego stream or 3-hour Lego stream earlier in the day. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream tonight. I'm glad I'm to this point of the build. It's going to be cool when I start putting it together and I'm able to put it on the stand. But for all of us here at the Heart of Geek, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream tonight, and I'll hopefully see you guys tomorrow for whatever I decide to stream. Maybe it'll be Warzone. I don't know. It'll be something. I'll be streaming some game tomorrow night. But hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.